good, YouTube? It's your boy Xenny and I'm back with another video, man. If you're new to my channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like the video. I would appreciate it. Today we got hell's newest rapper, how we caught 3 bodies, Julio Foolio documentary. So without further ado, let's get straight to this video, man.
He was a real demon, and he professed to be a demon. He himself said he was a demon.
Certain stuff that how you do, like you sleep in the graveyard for like 3 days, 4 days to a week. Drink chicken, like animal blood. It's different stuff though, like, you know, like, I don't really think about it. This the life we live in, shit. We know the consequences, and everybody know the consequences in the street. Dead in jail, and if you don't know the consequences, get out the street.
I said what I said. Just stand on that.
Welcome back to another episode of Swamp Stories. For this one, we center around possibly the most dangerous rapper of all time. Some call him evil, others call him sociopathic, but overall, this is a man who embodies every single bad aspect of being a rapper. We all know generally the terrible things he was about, but oftentimes the story is much deeper than what's on the surface. At the end of the day, we're all human, and given bad circumstances, we're all capable of doing some horrible things. So before you celebrate his loss, let's dive into his life, what he's been through, and what led him down an evil path. Regardless, this video was definitely one of the craziest ones yet, and I promise you do not want to miss a single second. But before we get into it, let me run the intro. Welcome to Jacksonville, Florida, a city long known for old people, retirement homes, and enclosed pools. I bet you weren't expecting that, were you? It's the truth though, bruh, on my mama. No, really, Jacksonville has always been known as a great place to retire. In particular, buying a suburban home is cheap and there's a whole lot of land available. In fact, it's by far the biggest city in mainland America, and you can actually fit 19 San Franciscos inside of the city. This makes it easily the most spread out city in America, which is perfect for people who hate crime, neighbors, or really anything dangerous. But like anywhere in America, Jacksonville definitely has its hoods too. The hoods of Jacksonville exist almost exclusively on the north and west sides of the city. Here you'll find neighborhoods resemblant of Memphis or Baton Rouge, with a whole lot of open carrying, bail bond signs, and a ton of
abandoned homes all over, like this one, with ripped out electrical boxes, boarded up windows. Across the street I see bullet holes all over.
Ooh, but despite the daunting looks, it was always known for being laid back, donk riding, and crazy hair wearing. But in this video, you'll see how one man single-handedly changed the vibe from being overly player to being evil and possibly a worse drill scene than Chicago. No, for real, Jacksonville is bad, and in this video, we start in one of the North Side's most infamous hoods. The video begins in an infamous Section 8 project called the Hilltop Village, also known as the Bricks for short.
The worst hood in Jacksonville, like literally the worst hood, Hilltop Village Apartments.
I'm appalled about how these residents are living.
We're gonna go to Hilltop Apartments right now.
You for real? Don't, I ain't do that.
Statistically, the Bricks have always been the worst part of the city, with constant violence, robberies, raids, and more. In fact, it got so bad that the city mandated they put a metal fence around the property, only allowing residents on the premises. Well, here is where a man named Charles Jones, also known as Rick the Ruler, was seen as the landlord. Not exactly the person who collects the rents, but the man who's in charge of running all of the street activities in the project. For years, Rick was deeply feared on the north side, kind of like the boogeyman. Well, simultaneously, Rick was a father as well, with a son named Charles Jones Jr. who lived with him and his mother in the Bricks. Born in 1998, Charles Jr. experienced an extremely violent period on the north side, surrounded by nothing but chaos and violence. This made lending a normal childhood nearly impossible for Charles, as focusing on school and even sleeping at night were difficult tasks. He basically grew up roaming around the projects, seeing things that he probably should not have been seeing. Then, at 11 years old, he witnessed something that truly no kid should ever see. It's a late afternoon in the Bricks, and Charles and his friends are hanging out in the courtyard. As they're playing games and minding their own business, suddenly they start hearing a loud confrontation. So Charles naturally looks over and sees his best friend's mom and her boyfriend getting into a fight. The argument gets heated, and sadly the man lets his emotions get the best of him. He whips out and makes a terrible decision. Man runs away, and everyone comes in to help the woman. They rush her to the hospital, where thankfully she survives. Regardless though, witnessing this at 11 would scar Charles Jr. for life.
It was so crazy. I was so close to my dog at the time. I'm watching him cry like, and then I'm seeing her lay down on the steps. She lift her arm straight up. She like, I'm shot. I'm like, this really going on. You feel me? That night, like that just fucked my mind up. That just showed me like, cause you know when you a kid, you don't think death for real. That showed me that death is real. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, she actually died?
Nah, she ain't died, but I'm looking at her bleed, and you know what I'm saying?
Hilltop was stamped in his mind by this horrible incident, and it was no place to continue to grow up. So thankfully, at the age of 12, his father moved to the west side of Jacksonville, relieving him from all the problems of the bricks. So starting in the 6th grade, little Charles went to school and lived on the west side of Jacksonville, which really wasn't that much better. Okay, it was definitely better than living in the bricks, but it also wasn't Beverly Hills. Let me explain. Charles moved to the corner of 24th Street, located in an area full of low to middle class houses. Here, because it's also low income, things do happen, but it's nothing like the constant chaos of the bricks. Well, while living here, Charles befriended a man named Dwayne who lived right up the block on 25th. Little did Charles know the seemingly friendly Dwayne had an arrest record as long as Crip Mac's vocabulary. Okay, so it wasn't that long, but it included some disgusting crimes that I can't say on YouTube. All I can say is that Dwayne is registered. Regardless, Charles doesn't know this, and Dwayne is often at his house hanging out. They quickly become homeboys, and that takes us to May 11th, 2011. It's a Wednesday afternoon, and Junior comes home to an argument right outside of his house. Dwayne and his father are yelling at each other over something that seems to be minor. So little Charles thinks nothing of it and heads to his room. Regardless, he doesn't want this kind of energy near his son, so Big Charles asks Dwayne to leave his house. Unfortunately, Dwayne doesn't respect his wishes, and the two get into a squabble. They get it in front of the house, and from what we know, Big Charles beats his Obviously, Dwayne is now even more pissed, and he decides to head back home. Big Charles is kind of feeling good about himself, and he really doesn't think much of it, just another fight in the hood. But little does he know, Dwayne has a couple of screws loose. At 12:30 a.m., little Charles is asleep in his room, and Big Charles is in the living room watching TV. That's when he hears a loud knock on the door.
Where's Foolio at? They supposed to be talking about Foolio, man. I thought we were talking about Foolio. Anyway, man, if you guys are new to the channel, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you like the video. I would appreciate it. And I'm going to see you guys on the next video, man. Peace.